Okay, great. So let's begin and we'll learn all about CELA. I live and I work on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa and Haudenosaunee and Wendat peoples. This territory is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. This land is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. But wherever we find ourselves today across Turtle Island, we are grateful to the First Nations for their careful stewardship of the land we all share. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So we're talking about the basics of the service, and that includes finding or choosing a book or magazine, learning about accessible formats, devices that work with our collection, and delivery options. Delivery options basically means how you get your books or magazines. We'll cover how to return items or remove them from your device, and we'll end with some information about how to get help and hopefully a just quick described tour of some of the key parts of our site, including how to get a book. I just want to say that this webinar really is a very basic overview about CELA. We're assuming most of you have registered recently or maybe within the last year. Maybe some of you are considering joining CELA. So if you'd like more information about a specific device, for example, then we have other tutorials and videos that can provide this information. And at the end, I will tell you where to find that information. Okay, so the first thing really to say is welcome to CELA. So we are very pleased that you registered for our libraries to enjoy books and magazines and newspapers in accessible formats. So if you have just registered, you would have received your 6-digit CELA username by email. And depending on how recently you registered, you would have received 2 starter books, either in the mail on CDs or loaded right onto your device. You may also have received a call from our contact center to give you further support to help you get started with CELA. If you did not give us an email address when you signed up, then you would just receive either, you would receive the starter books as well as a welcome message or welcome CD, depending on the formats that you chose and the device that you chose. For all Braille readers and also for anyone who's a child or a teenager, they would get a call from our contact center to help them set up. Okay, let's move on. So what is CELA? So CELA is a comprehensive, accessible reading service providing books and other materials to Canadians with print disabilities in the formats of their choice. We are a national not-for-profit organization that serves most of the estimated 3 million Canadians with print disabilities in partnership with public libraries, member public libraries. And that is why we ask you for your public library card number when you register. So our services ensure that people with print disabilities are more able to fully participate in learning, work, and community life, and that they can contribute to the social, cultural, and economic development and success of their local and broader communities. So you might ask yourself, who is eligible for CELA? So CELA is available to Canadians with print disabilities. So what that means is that someone cannot read print or has difficulty reading print due to a visual disability, a physical disability where they can't hold a book or turn the pages of a book, or they may have a learning disability that makes it hard for them to understand reading regular print. We also offer our access to our collection to educators and other professionals that support those with print disabilities. So really, we like to think of this as a holistic approach to our library service. Not only can the person with a print disability register, but so can those who support them. I'll talk about what we have in our collection. So as a CELA user, you have access to our collection of over 1 million items, and they include books, magazines, and newspapers. Our collection and services are in English and French, and we have titles for all ages and interests, both fiction and nonfiction, and that includes books for kids and young adults, teenagers. When you browse our online catalog, you will find that CELA has another collection other than CELA. This other collection is called Bookshare. So Bookshare is a US collection of books in English, French, and multiple other languages that are produced digitally in audio, e-text, and Braille formats. So you can download those items. You can order a CD of a Bookshare audio book, but just keep in mind, because it was made digitally really on the spot when it's ordered, the sound of the voice might be a bit robotic. So just so you know. If you do want access to the Bookshare collection, you will also need to complete a proof of disability form, and you can find that on our site. You'll need to have that filled in and signed by someone who can validate your print disability, and then you upload it to your CELA account, and we'll give you access to both CELA's collection and Bookshare collection. I do want to mention that to sign up for CELA, you did not need to provide proof of disability. Sometimes people get a little mixed up about that. But if you recently signed up for CELA, you did not need proof of disability. If you're thinking of signing up for CELA and have a print disability, again, you do not need to provide proof of disability. It's only if you want access to Bookshare's collection. We are very proud of our growing collection. In fact, we add new titles pretty much every week so that we can offer you books for learning, work, and leisure reading. We have partnerships with publishers and with other alternate format libraries from around the world so that we can provide you with a diverse collection of titles. And we also follow key literary award programs, such as the Giller, which is a major Canadian fiction reading award. And we also follow reading programs. A lot of them are for children, but there are others that have a broader scope. So one of the reading programs we follow is the First Nations Community Reads. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Ioana, who will tell us about our different formats. So Ioana, just let me know when you want me to advance the slide.
Sure. Thanks again for being here. Let's talk about the formats. Because CELA is a specialized library for for special needs. As you can imagine, we have a variety of formats, and some are maybe less well known than others. So we hope that you will find a format that's best suited for your individual needs. We've got a few options. We have audiobooks, accessible ebook or text formats. We've got Braille books and print Braille. And I will explain a bit more in detail about each of them. Our audio and text books are mainly provided in what is called the DAISY format. And DAISY actually stands for Digital Accessible Information System. In plain language, what this is, it's a specialized format that allows you, if you have the right device or app on your device, to navigate quickly and precisely to a particular section of the book. So you can find a chapter or a specific passage or bookmark where you left off. And this is provided both for audio files and for text files. It is noteworthy that for audio files, although I mentioned that you need a specialized app on your devices or a specialized player that reads DAISY, you could also use, if you wanted, a CD player, as long as that CD player can play MP3 files. It will not necessarily provide you with all the bells and whistles of navigation options, but you can certainly use it to read your book. Other formats for ebooks and text formats, you can also download them in what's called EPUB or Word. So some people that like to make notes or open those files in other applications can choose that format as well. Let's talk a bit about Braille, which is close to my heart because I read Braille myself. I use Braille every day. So for those who already are longtime Braille users, or if any of you want to actually learn Braille or support Braille readers, there is something in our collection for everyone. We have starting from like board books with hard covers, like for babies. We have picture books that have also Braille included in them and describe the pictures for kids. And these are called print Braille books. And then we have a wide selection of various genres of Braille books, and for all ages. And you can order these either in physically embossed Braille on paper that will get to you by mail, or you can read them on a Braille display if you have one. And you have them both in uncontracted and contracted, and it's always indicated what format you're getting. Let's move on. Now let's see we've talked about the formats. Let's see, how do these books reach you? Let's look about. So it depends basically on what devices you have available. If you have a tablet or a smartphone, like iOS devices, iPhone or iPad, for example, you can download the titles in what's called zip files. So you could choose to download them and then decide later you transfer them on the device of your choice and read them there. There is another option, which is very popular if you can use that one. It's called direct to player. And as the name indicates, what this does is that if you choose this format, as long as you have a compatible app, such as Easy Reader on your iPhone or tablet, the books will be automatically delivered to your device. You don't need to download them yourself and then transfer them. So it is a very convenient way to access your books. And this way you don't even have to wait for a CD in the mail, which brings me to the next option, which is you can receive actually for free CDs with audio content in the mail. And of course, so also, as I mentioned before, you can receive Braille books in the mail. And I should note that this is all happening for free because there is a program, Free Matter for the Blind, that allows Post Canada for you to send them and return them for free. So what are the devices you can use? It might be a bit confusing because I am showing you lots of options and giving you lots of information. So if this is a bit confusing and you still don't know, well, how do I choose and how do I get started with all this? I think a good place is to start with, what kind of device do you feel more comfortable with to begin with? And what do you have available as well, of course. So if you have a smartphone or a tablet, you can have an app on your smartphone or tablet. You can have what is called the Envoy Connect. That is a new player that is available, and you could use that if you want to just receive the books, and you can even mail it in to reload the books yourself. Or you can use your computer or a Braille display. So basically start with the device you would like to use and then take it from there and decide what formats best suit you. And we have tutorials for all of these options on our website. Let's go next. Choosing books. How do you choose what you want to read? We have a few options, basically two main ways. You can select yourself what you want to read next, or you can have what is called automatic selection that allows the system to choose books for you and send them to you in whatever delivery options you choose automatically. The first way, when you choose yourself, you can do that by using our webpage, and I will do a demo later about the main features of the webpage. But the other option, if that is more comfortable for you, you can reach out to the contact center. You can call them or email them with the books you would like to read, and they will make sure that they reach you. If you want to use the web page interface, you will need the login information, which Rachel mentioned at the beginning. So your 6-digit username and your password to be able to log into your account. The most popular option that many of our users prefer is automatic selection. Now, how does this work? You start a conversation basically with our contact center, and they will start asking you about what kind of genres you like, whether you like biographies, fiction, nonfiction, and any preferences you have. Then you can tell us how many books you would like, because sometimes you have more time or less time. And I should note that there are limitations depending on the format you choose. Maybe you will not want, and you couldn't receive 5 Braille books in the mail, because that would take a lot of room. So depending on the format, the contact center will inform you what your reading option limitations are. Then you can also, like, if you want to find inspiration on what genres you can talk about with the contact center, you have a browse by category section on our webpage where you have all sorts of genres and subgenres that you can have a look at. But the contact center will gladly help you with this. You can also add favorite authors or series to your reading profile. So basically, the more information you give us about what kind of books you like, the more we can be sure that you will receive the books you're actually interested in. And once you've done all that, then the system will send you the books, the type of books you've discussed, at the frequency you have also selected. So let's move on to magazines. We have a collection of magazines, which are of various types, like whether it's like news or daily living. And so I hope you will find something for everyone. You can either subscribe to them. So let's say you know that you really like, I don't know, Reader's Digest. So then you can subscribe to it and make sure that every time there's a new issue, it will automatically be sent to you, either via direct to player or however you basically via direct to player. That would be your main option. You can subscribe using your account, or you can also just call or contact the contact center and they can do it for you. So they are also in English and French, and a wide range of topics: politics, news, and there are also, if you want to choose this option, there is a small number of audio magazines that are bundled on a CD that you can choose to receive every few months, and that will be then automatically sent out to you. The magazines, I should say that they are in text format and also in audio format. So that's about the magazines. Let's move on. Newspapers. If you are a newspaper reader, then you'll be happy to know that CELA is happy to provide a wide range of newspapers, either like national and international, and you've got popular options such as the New York Times or the Globe and Mail. But you also have local papers for your region. And you can find the titles on our newspaper link that's from our main site. I will show that to you also as well in our demonstration. And the titles are organized by region, so you can select them that way. Because these titles are accessible online only, you have to use a web browser such as Internet Explorer or Chrome or whatever you use to navigate the web, and you can access the newspapers this way. It is a specialized format. We're receiving them, we're delivering them to you via a third-party service that makes available just the articles, so you won't get necessarily the full content. It will be stripped of imaging and advertising, so you will just get some kind of text-based articles of interest from the newspaper you choose. And they will be published, the latest edition, you should find it each morning. And if for some days, some papers don't have a delivery option, then for, let's say, some are not delivered on Sundays, then you will be able to read that issue until the next comes up on Monday morning. Unfortunately, you cannot find back issues of newspapers, unlike with magazines where you can find previously published issues. So now I will pass it on to Rachel to discuss which one? Yeah, we were discussing how to return items.
That's right. Thank you, Ioana. I'm just going to mention that with the magazines, just recently, in case any of you have signed up for CELA for quite a while, Reader's Digest Canada, unfortunately, has ceased publication. So there's a note in the most recent magazine bundle that went out, I believe, a few weeks ago, saying that Reader's Digest Canada is not available. However, as e-text, the American version of Reader's Digest is still there. We still can get it and you still can subscribe to it. And if you did that, it would be loaded onto your Easy Reader app, basically. Okay. All right, thanks, Ioana, that's great. So she's told you about all these great ways to get books and what devices we have. So now I'm going to talk about the other side and how you would, and if you need to, return certain items. So it depends on the format, whether or not we need to receive it back. So I'm going to start talking about downloaded items. So essentially, if you have some of our books or magazines on your smartphone or on your computer, you do need to delete them when you're done. So that's one thing we do ask, is that you delete the book when you're done. If you have an Envoy Connect, which is our newest delivery, newest device, that reads our books, then you connect your Envoy Connect to the software called CELA Connect. A bit confusing, but just think Connect, and both words are there. And you would remove the item from your Envoy Connect using the CELA Connect app. Oh, and also, sorry, just to say, the other way you can return your books on your Envoy Connect is through the mail, as Ioana mentioned. So when you purchased your Envoy Connect, you should have received a return envelope. If you do want to mail it back to us here in Toronto, then you just use that envelope, mail it back for free, and then we will take the old books off, load new books on, and then mail it back to you with another return email, another return envelope. For those of you who might be borrowing CDs, we do require that those books be sent back so that we can dispose of them, since they have your address, name and address written on the front. So when you send the book back, what you would do is the books are sent in these small cardboard envelopes. They're bright yellow, and they have a little flap on the top to keep the CD inside. So when you need to return it, you need to flip the CD over so that the shiny side of the CD is facing the clear plastic window. So if you can't tell which side has your address and which side is the shiny side, you can feel that there is a ridge around the whole of the CD. If you can feel the ridge, then that's the back side, the shiny side of the CD. And what you do is you place it into the envelope so the shiny side is facing that clear plastic window. Just drop it in the mailbox and Canada Post knows to return it to us. If you receive magazines on CD, though, that's the magazine bundle, we call it, then actually you can keep that magazine or just recycle it. That's fine. Well, let's talk about Braille books. So Braille books that we mail to you are delivered in boxes, and you actually can keep the book. We emboss a copy just for you. We mail it out to you and then do what you like with it. You can keep it, share it with a friend, or recycle it if you like to. Our print braille books, which are those kids' picture books, must be returned to CELA. They are the only format that we offer where we make a copy, we loan the copy to one person, and then that same copy comes back and it goes out to a different person. So it's really important that we receive those back. We mail our print braille books in cloth bags, and at the front of the bag is a pocket with a card in it. So the card has your address in it. So what you need to do is get that bag, take out the card, flip it over, and then it has our return address on it, put it back into that pocket, and it works really well. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, we have a holistic approach to our service. So some of you might like to have a friend or family member help you with your CELA service. And so we call those designates. And if you're going to have somebody help you with your CELA service, we highly recommend you add their name to your account. So a designate will have full access to your account. They can request books on your behalf. They can make changes to your account. They also can log in and see your reading history or read your reading history. So they have full access. So it's important for you to know that. If you do want to add a designate, then please call our contact center to add that person. We really want to ensure your privacy of your information and even things like reading history and preferences. So we highly encourage you as the CELA account holder to call us and add the name of a family member, friend, or other support person. If the support person were to call, that's fine, but we do need to ask them many questions just to make sure that we're giving this person is who they are and that they can access your account. So the best thing to do is call on your own. So we're almost near the end and we have lots of time for a bit of a described tour of the site, which is great. That's the exciting part of this presentation. So in order to get help, we do have a page on our site called Help. It appears on every single page. It's one of our standard links on our website. And on the help page, you will find videos and tutorials on how to use our different reading devices, like the Easy Reader app, for example, or it will have recorded webinars as well. So that's where we're going to put this webinar today is on that page. And so many of the devices and formats that you want to mention will have tutorials on that help page. We also publicize our other webinars for patrons on that help page. It's a page called Webinars for You. So we highly encourage you to check it out and find out what other webinars we're offering. You won't find any links for or any webinars for the summer coming up, but later this summer we'll be promoting our webinars in the fall. And then, of course, if you need assistance choosing books, making changes with your account, technical support, we highly encourage you to call our contact center and they will be very pleased to help you. And on that note, we are done the informational part of the webinar. So now Ioana will share her screen, or I'll share my screen. Oh, sorry, Ioana's sharing her screen, and she will do a bit of a tour. And then after that, we'll take your questions. So Ioana, I stopped sharing my screen. Go ahead.
Great. I will just set up my screen share. I will make sure that you can also hear the sound. Okay, wonderful. Let's see. Okay.
Screen sharing meeting controls. Share preview WN. CELA profile. One
So
Microsoft.
hopefully, Rachel, could you confirm that we've got the sharing going?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can see your screen and we can hear you. Yeah.
Here. Okay, wonderful. If any, I will slow my speech down of my JAWS speech synthesizer. Okay, so we should be here on the home page of our CELA webpage, celalibrary.ca. And on this webpage, one of the things that you have on every page a menu where you have main links, such as the help page that Rachel mentioned. But you also have my account page. And also what you have on every web page is a search field. So let's start by searching for a book.
Search by title.
I pressed E for edit on JAWS, but you know, depending on what method you're using, you have to find that edit box that is at the top of every page. And I will now, let's search for, let's say, Indian in the cabinet.
Indian in the cabinet. Enter. Loading page. CELA. Search by title, author, or keyword.
Nice. Loading complete. Oh no, still loading.
Still loading.
Oh, no search results.
Sorry.
Okay, this brings us to an interesting feature. I probably have some filters
Title
that
search
do
results
not...
heading level 1. Loading complete. Page has 7 regions, 12 headings, and 34. Saw filter results heading level 2. Do not
Ioana, sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Did you mean Indian in the cupboard?
Oh, no, cabinet. Maybe I misprinted.
Titles. Virtual P. Search by title, author, or keyword. Edit. Indian in the cabinet. Title search result.
Okay. So what I did is I had some search, and I was going to mention these, some search filters that were filtering out so many books that there were no results. So right at the filter sections that are underneath the search results, you can choose to ignore any search filters. Anyway, so here we go. We have some search results that are happening.
Indian in the cabinet, speaking truth to power, heading level 2.
So we've got a few versions because we mentioned sometimes the same book will be available both in the CELA collection, which you have access to by default, but also through the Bookshare collection if you have provided proof of disability. Now let's explore what do we have here. And each title is marked with a heading level 2.
Indian in the cabinet, speaking truth to Indian in the cabinet by Jody. Daisy audio, politics and government biography.
It tells you what kind of book it is.
Human narrated audio.
And one nice, interesting bit of information, it tells me that this is a human narrated audio, so it is not text to speech.
The #1 bestseller. Show full summary button.
And I could choose to see the full summary.
Combo box collapse. Choose a format.
Here is a very interesting, important part. There is a place to choose a format.
Open list box.
I have opened this and we can explore what options we have.
Daisy audio CD.
We can have it as a CD.
Daisy audio direct to player.
Direct to player, that is if you have the Easy Reader app or some other way to access Daisy format direct to player.
Daisy audio zip.
You can get the zip file and then transfer it yourself. And these are all the options for this particular book. Now, if you want, we can look at the other option of this book, and let's find the formats here.
Combo box collab. Open Braille contracted.
Here we have a Braille contracted, so you could download that or request. So Braille contracted would mean that if you select that, then you will receive that by mail.
Electronic Braille contracted.
Electronic Braille contracted, if you have a Braille display, you would get a file.
Daisy audio CD.
You would get a Daisy audio CD, but very likely this one, I can double check, is a synthetic audio. So you will get that robotic voice because it is not really read by a human.
Daisy audio direct to player.
Or a Daisy audio direct to player, but again, with the robotic voice. So you have to look at what kind of, sometimes you have multiple choices for the same book and you will find, you have to choose the one you like. Now, if this is confusing and you would rather not even see, if you know that you will never be interested in Braille books or you will never be interested in synthetic audio, you can go to the My Account section and there you can set your preferences. So you can set them and forget them because once you do that, they will be remembered. So I will just choose the My Account link to give you a quick visit of that.
Links listed. Member library. My Account. 4/3.
So I went to the links list and I pressed M multiple times until I heard My Account.
Enter. Loading page. My Account CELA. Heading level 1 My Account. Search.
Here we go. We've got and we can explore by headings. The CELA website is very practically.
Proof of disability.
We can.
My account heading level
So
1.
heading level 1 is my account.
My books and magazines heading.
You can find here your books, your like your zip files that you have selected to download. They're all here. You can see what books you ordered.
Available zip files for downloads heading level 3.
You can see
Direct to player bookshelf visited.
You can look at your virtual bookshelf for direct to player books. So basically everything that's related to you personally, you will find here.
Magazine subscriptions visited heading level.
Here you can also subscribe to magazines. So once, if you know already a title of a magazine that you're interested in, you can go to your My Account and subscribe to a magazine here.
History heading level 3.
Let's find
account settings heading
your
level
account
2.
settings.
Communication search
search preferences. This is what I wanted to show you. If I would click here, you would see
create search preferences.
All sorts of search preferences. You can choose the languages you're interested in, the formats you're interested in. I will not explore them in too much detail, but basically this is where you will customize your search preferences. I mentioned magazines, so let's go to the magazines. Again, there are at the top of every page. So although I'm now in the search preferences page, because we have a main menu at the top of the page with some links that are always there, you can jump to them from wherever you are on the web page. So I will now go invoke my links list.
Links listed
in JAWS.
My account, magazines.
And press M until I've heard the link magazines.
Enter. Loading page.
And
magazine CELA.
Here we have
virtual overview heading level.
We have an overview of how to read magazines.
Enjoy CELA's collection of magazines covering.
So you have a bit of general info that I invite you to explore.
How to read Daisy magazines.
That's another
Subscribe
thing.
to direct to player magazine. Discontinue magazines by format heading level.
So you have different ways to browse these magazines. You can browse them by format. So if you know that you
List
want
of 3 blank. Bullet visited same page link full text magazines.
Full text magazines.
EPUB and Word. Bullet same page link human narrated audio magazines Daisy.
You can have human.
Bullet visited same page link Braille magazine.
Or Braille magazines. And in fact, for the Braille magazines, if you would like them, you could order individual issues on your Braille display. But if you really are interested in a particular Braille magazine, then you can subscribe to it and you will receive it in physical Braille. So these would be the magazines. Let's have a quick look at the newspapers.
Links listed. New York New Yorker. 32
okay, now let's go to the top and
newspapers.
9 of
200.
Okay.
Enter. Loading page.
Here we go.
Newspapers CELA. Heading level 1 newspapers.
And like in the magazines section, you will see them organized, as I mentioned, by length.
Overview heading
level. You have an overview.
Tips for reading news.
And you have tips for reading newspapers.
A 2Z list of newspapers.
Now you have them organized alphabetically.
Newspapers by region heading level 2.
Or by region. So
please note, login is required to access newspapers.
So it's kindly informing you that you actually, that's a good point. You could be able to search books even without being logged in, but the moment you are not logged in, if you would like to order a book, then it will tell you, wait a second, you need to actually be a member to order the book.
List of 7.
I should note that other than the main search field, which is available on every page,
search by title,
you could go and find
combo box collapsed. Search button list of 3
right under the search button.
Visited link advanced search.
What is called the advanced search, and there, similarly, like you did, you might do for your search preferences, you could look at your do a more refined search by format, by language, and so forth.
Link browse by category.
And you have also the browse by category option, which I mentioned before, in case you don't know what book you would like to read, but you know you're in the mood for adventure stories. Well, this is the place to go. Browse by category, and there you will have a list of genres and subgenres. And so then you can find lists of books this way. So I hope this gives you a quick overview. If you're interested, we have in our webinars for you section, and we have a pre-recorded webinars that go into much more detail about all the various features of the web page. And we're for sure going to host future webinars about how to use CELA's webpage. But because this is also one of the main things that I was looking forward to today, and I hope that this will be useful to you, is I would like to make
1:45
sure that
p.m.
we leave room for your questions. And so we can, because I'm sure that you might have all sorts of, we covered a lot of ground very quickly, so you might have questions that, with all that we covered. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Rachel.
Sorry. Thank you, Ioana. There definitely are some questions, but before we go to them, because we're good on time, would you be
Okay.
able to show the bottom of the website where the title suggestion form is, for example?
Copyright 2024. Visit email us heading level list end.
So let's
Perfect.
say,
Suggestion box heading level.
okay, so actually if you go to the very bottom and then you go Shift H, or you go to the previous heading, we have this.
CELA welcomes all feedback and suggestions. List of 4 items. Bullet link join our educator advice.
Okay, so here we see we have a few options. You can
Bullet
join.
link apply for our user. Bullet link suggest a title for the collection.
Yes, that's an interesting link to know. So if you were looking for a book, then you will be able to click on this form and request a title. Of course, we can't guarantee that every suggestion that you have will be accommodated, but we certainly are interested in hearing your thoughts.
Bullet link report a problem with a
You
book.
can also report a problem with a book you receive. Sometimes a CD may have a problem and it does not play properly, or, we want to know if there's anything that there is a problem with. And we want to know if the book has any formatting problems,
List end.
etc.
Heading level 2.
For sure. Another link on that page is called subscribe to our newsletters. So we do email out, I should say, a monthly newsletter that May issues going out very soon. It should be going out at the end of this week. And it just provides new title suggestions, any service announcements for you. So if you're not subscribed, I'd highly recommend that you subscribe.
Yeah, I love it. They have a great service tips, reader tips, what's new, and you will hear firsthand about upcoming webinars. So yes, it's definitely a great way to stay in touch with CELA.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that's it. I'm certainly going to say goodbye. Ioana, did you want to say anything?
No, happy reading. That's all I can say. And I hope that we were able to answer some questions. Looking forward to hearing from you for any other questions and suggestions, etc. Stay in touch.
Yes, definitely. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alt F4.